Hey everybody, my name is Arlo Nurmisto from the Spider Accomplice, and we are watching, Grizzly TV YouTube channel.
Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Grizzly ENT Podcast. Today I'm joined by the Spider Accomplice. How are you guys doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
Fantastic.
doing pretty decent. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, if you guys just want to give yourselves a little bit of a rundown, explain who you guys are, so who may not know who the Spider Accomplice is, give them a little introduction about what you guys are all about, basically.
We're a modern rock band in Los Angeles. We are a duo, a two-piece, and we've got a little bit of a metal edge to us. I guess you could say we're in the vein of like Stitched Up Heart and Icon for Hire. And we definitely like to be on stage. Seeing us live is really the only way to see us. And we've got 3 EPs out right now and a bunch of videos. So you can find us pretty much anywhere.
Absolutely.
All right. That was a better introduction than I could have done. So glad that y'all could do that. But okay, so first off, we're just gonna start out with a little bit of a question that I sort of had, because as I was looking for bands and stuff like that, I saw the Spider Accomplice and I saw that you guys were a duo, and that you guys, because there's not a lot of like duos out there in rock music. Mm-hmm. So I was basically wondering, first off, the name, is there some sort of like significance to that, or is it some sort of thing that someone came up with and you were like, oh, that sounds cool? You know what I mean?
There's always a significance. I don't believe in that just sounds cool. Yeah, the Spider Accomplice is basically based on an idea I had one time when I was talking to my husband about the songwriting process, and how like I feel like my head will get cloudy sometimes. I feel like I just have so many ideas rolling around my head and I can't think straight anymore. And I said to my husband, I feel like there's this little spider just making these like webs in my brain and I can't even see through them anymore. And when it gets to that point, that's when I know I'm about to write a song, and I'll just kind of like blah, spit it out and the web comes out and my brain clears, but then it just starts all over again. And I said, it's almost like this little spider is like attacking me, or it's my accomplice in making all of these songs. And he said, so it's like a little Spider Accomplice. And I said, yeah, it is. And I'm like, that's what it is. And so that's what songwriting is. It's the Spider Accomplice.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
The band I was just interviewing before, they basically said that somebody was just coming up with random ass names, and that just came up. So I was wondering about the name. Some people, they'll just come up with names for bands and it just won't make sense at all. And then you ask them why you name that band, and then they'll just be like, oh, sound cool.
Yeah. God bless them. Some people can roll that way. I've just never been able to do that. Like I'm always like, there's got to be meaning and all that stuff.
Well, I think also, like, especially born in Finland, English language always sounded cool. So I never wanted to sing in Finnish, So that's why, it's always been like, hey, what words sound cool together? Like it has been a lot of that thing, like before, when you've gone in like grown up a little bit, then you understand, oh, the words actually mean something, So, but there's both sides, like you have to make everything sound good together, but also like a fantastic words, number one.
Yeah, when I first thought of like Spider Accomplice, I don't know why, I just had this vision of aliens for some reason. You know what I mean? Like I just had the thought of like Megamind with his minion. I was thinking that like he was like they're walking around with like a spider creature or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting. Yeah, basically. All right. As you mentioned before, you guys are kind of on the same level as Icon for Hire and Stitched Up Heart and stuff like that. And a lot of people would say that female-fronted rock bands are, there's always those dickheads who are just basically like, oh, they don't, like female-fronted rock isn't as edgy or dumb shit like that. But, would you say that there's a lot more stigma around females in rock or the other way around?
Well, I think it depends on who you talk to. I mean, I think if you're talking to a grown-up, they're going to say, well, women have been rocking since Janis Joplin and Pat Benatar and Lee Ford. I mean, this isn't new at this point.
Yeah.
If you're a woman, you're kind of like, guys, this has been a long time now. So, keep on. But I think it's younger folks who are just getting into music who might be like, no, it's, or they're like dudes who get really like intense about it's got to be a masculine thing. But I think it's less and less. Or maybe I'm just hopeful that it's less and less, but I feel like it's less and less that if you listen to the music and you like the music itself, it doesn't matter if it's a male or a female singing it. It really does. Especially for our songs, because I don't really write love songs. I just don't. I feel like we've got more important things to say because there's so many love songs out there. There's people who are great at writing them. I'm not one of them.
But
like
hey,
what I are talking about
a love song. Maybe we should write one love song and see where it goes. It can be, a different take on that, but something, fresh and what we haven't done, so that's why we always want to push limits,
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is there always going to be sexists? Yes, in every that's the thing, it's not just in music, everywhere, and there's always going to be those folks, but I feel like you just can't let it get you down. I mean, if this is what you do, this is what you do, and you just try to work around it.
It's just kind of ridiculous that people are just really like hateful towards like certain people because they have to like have this like toxic masculinity and act as if, because if you look up any kind of black metal band with a female fronted vocalist, I'm pretty sure they can rock as hard as a male vocalist or whatever. And I get those comments like when I interviewed Mixie from Stitched Up Heart. I had this person, I deleted the comment, but basically they're like, oh, it's good to see her. She looked a lot better before she had the lip injections or some shit like that. And I'm like, why don't you just care about the fucking music? Like,
it's a very weird thing because they don't really care what a dude looks like. I mean, a guy can go on stage and literally look like a bag of trash, and they just don't care.
Exactly.
But like, we're expected to we're expected to be thin, we're expected to be young, we're expected to be pretty. And I mean, we can only do so much, I'm telling you, like, especially when you're trying to sing your guts out and you're sweating and half your makeup's coming off and whatnot. We can only do so much. I mean, literally, Arlo could walk on stage like wearing a pair of sweatpants, and they'd be like, "Arlo, you're the man!" But, it's like I gotta strap into the corset. That's the thing. I gave up on the corset a long time ago, and actually, someone was like, "You're not wearing the corset anymore." I'm like, "No, it's not comfortable. I'm trying to sing. Like I'm a singer, and this thing is like restricting my air. When you have to wear something on stage that doesn't let you do the job that you are there to do, it's time to reevaluate." Some people can sing through the corset, but I need my ribs, But I mean, you want to talk about, rocking girls. I'm wearing an Unleash the Archers shirt right now. Brittany Slayes from Unleash the Archers. I dare any dude to step to her. I really do.
Yeah, it's like there's just so many, like, I know so many, because when I first started sending out emails for interviews and stuff like that, it wasn't even me being like picky. I was just like, the people who accepted the interviews were female fronted bands, and I started getting comments basically telling me that, oh, really, you can't do like guy bands and stuff like that. And I'm like, the fuck is the point? Like, it's music. Like, I hate when I get when I review an album and then somebody says something like, oh, you're just saying that because they're male or female or whatever, and I'm just like, no, it's my opinion on an album. It's not any kind of gender significance.
Sometimes they don't think of it the other way, and if they did, like, they would go, oh, like when someone says, oh, you could only get a female band, it's like, well, would you ever say, oh, you could only get a male band? No, you wouldn't say that. It's like, you would, like, we get a lot of because I always check our email for the band. And they're like, oh, I really like your girl singer. We only have one singer. So it's not like they needed to tell you which one, but they wouldn't have said, I like your dude singer. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, oh, like the norm for everything is male. Everything that exists is male. So if you are different, you need to put that adjective on there, that girl singer or chick singer or broad singer. That's my favorite one. I always think, if they thought of it the other, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt that if they thought of it the other way, they would go, oh, wait, that's silly. Okay, I get it. But maybe they just wouldn't get it. I don't know, but maybe they would.
And for me, it's always a good song is a good song. It doesn't matter whoever, when we're hearing music in all our lives, it doesn't matter, it's a female or a male or who sings that or who is it instrumental or whatever. Good song is a good song. So that's our point, it's like we don't want to do anything but best what we can do.
Honestly, my life would be a lot easier if I was a dude.
Yeah.
Because then we wouldn't have to even worry about it. Like it's something we wouldn't even.
Mine too.
You're right. Exactly. Because it almost seems like it's a bummer to have to address it in a way. It's like it's almost like they act like it's a handicap. Like it's like oh, it's a shame about you got a girl singing. Oh.
Yeah.
How do you work around that? It's like what?
Yeah. For me, I just want to play great music, as good as what I can do. So I don't face these problems, and nobody contacts me, nobody sends me an email or anything like that. So I'm just doing, whatever, I need to do in order to, sound good. And
you do a wonderful job.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but again, it's I understand, there is a lot of pressure on your head over there, VK, for all these,
Yeah, I mean, I love doing the music, so it's like we, you just. I think here's the upside is I can wear glitter on stage, and nobody cares, so I get glitter.
Yeah.
I mean, there are male singers who still do that.
It's true. It's true. Yeah.
And I had the pink suit, for a while, so hey,
Arlo to go on stage in a bright pink suit. It was wild.
Yeah.
I'll try to find a photo, flash it on screen.
Oh yeah, we have a video of that, Calico Concrete.
Our video for Calico Concrete, he literally kicks open a door.
There we go.
It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of Calico Concrete, I'm doing this type of category for the podcast where called Explain That Name. I basically go through your discography and I find the most interesting titles, and you just kind of explain a little bit for people who might be a little, don't really know much about it. So let's start with Calico Concrete.
I'm looking at Arlo because I'm wondering if he knows.
I know it's about, your hometown. It is about, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
It's about my hometown. It's about specifically about the house I grew up in. And out in front of that house is it's a concrete, obviously sidewalk, but the house is so run down and beat up that it's been cracked and broken so many times that and it's been repaired so many times that it looks like a calico pattern to me. And so that's where it came from. It's this Calico Concrete pattern of just hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next one, Butterflies in a Beehive.
Oh, we've got a visual aid for that one. Hang on. Here it is.
Oh. Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that came from this crazy idea that I had that there's two types of people in the world. There are the people who, they keep the world running. They're doing the hard jobs. They're the bees, man. They're making the honey. They're going back to the hive. They're protecting the queen. And then there's these other people who are just brightly colored and they pollinate a flower here and there, but mostly they're just flying around like, look at me. And that's me. That's me. I'm making songs and like, look at the pretty colors. And so I was telling my husband, I'm like, I feel like I'm ridiculous. I'm this butterfly that like you could just rip its wings off and it would die. It has no resilience. And he said, yeah, but think of it this way. At the end of the day, the bee goes to the bar and puts a quarter in the jukebox to listen to the butterfly because it fucking sucks to be a bee. Can I say that?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay. So I said this to the guys at rehearsal and they were like, yeah, we're just all butterflies in a beehive. And I was like, let's go with that theme. And so I pulled out my notebook and we wrote the song Butterflies in a Beehive.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So we don't definitely have, too much songs like, Get It On, or just like a like a very, very like a simple one, so I think everything has to every time I hear your lyrics, it's just like wow, we're going deep over here. We go deeper and deeper.
I guess I always have this like, I don't want to say something that somebody's already said. Yeah. Just in one way, I have respect for them. They've already said, like, why am I going to steal their ideas? Why am I going to steal their thoughts? And also I think people want new ideas. They want to hear something they haven't heard. Those moments when you hear a song and you hear something that you've never thought of before and you're like, that just blew my mind. Like, you want to give people that. Otherwise, what are we doing here? That people don't want to hear the same thing they've heard 100 times. I mean, maybe they do, but I think by and large, people who love music, they want something new, something exciting, something different.
Absolutely. Same thing with like songwriting. I don't want to any time go back, hey, to this, because it's been written the way, like hundreds of times. So I rather, trying to find a new angle for that and, new way of, saying maybe with the new sounds and just keeping it fresh, also. And I think, that's, just fun for me, and, like a fun for, doing, just have a lyrics, what inspire you, to sing those, so, it's it should be fun for you. It's not just, for audience, it's also like for me, and
it's not just, Arno's like, you're not writing just for the audience, you're writing for me. So interest me.
Right from me.
I'm writing for Arno.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like you're gonna get mad at me because I can't pronounce it. Bromelaid.
Oh, bromelade. No,
bromelade.
You are totally okay, dude. You're totally okay. It's a made up word.
I had to look up dichotomy for your album. I didn't know how to say it. Oh, I didn't know how to spell it. I knew what a dichotomy was. I didn't know how to spell it.
Okay. All right. See, Arno's sitting there right now. He's going to yell at me later.
Same thing with me, especially on my most.
Because he had told me, he's like, nobody's going to know how to say that. I'm like, yes, they are. They are too. There we go. So Bromelade is the name of the character that we had. Like all 3 EPs are a storyline about Los Angeles. And the main character is Bromelade. And I got it from the bromeliad plant, which like a pineapple is a bromeliad plant. And it's interesting, like in that they kind of have a weird way of pulling their nutrients, like from the dirt and things, in an interesting way. Like if you look it up, it's really boring. I'm so sorry. But if you look it up, it's interesting. But so I had this idea that she kind of had this just like screwed up life that her mom couldn't even wanted to name her that, but then couldn't even spell it right. And she flipped the 2 letters. So it was Bromelade instead of Bromeliad. So her name was Bromelade. And so, yeah, that's the name of the girl.
Yeah. Awesome.
And now that I say it, I feel like, why did that sounds needlessly complicated, but at the time it made perfect sense to me. Oh, man.
But hey, would you rather have an album that has a lot of thought put into it or an album that has nothing put into it? You know what I mean?
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at,
Like I'd rather have an album that has, for example, it has 10 titles and takes about 2 years for it to come out and it's better, instead of somebody releasing something every few months or so when it's overflowed with, like a lot of rap albums do that nowadays. It's just full of unnecessary tracks to pad out the track list. And that's why I'm not really a big fan of certain artists, because they'll put anywhere from like 15 to like 25 tracks on an album, and I'm like, I don't got time to listen to this.
He's like, yeah. Nobody got time for that.
Absolutely. You know, that's the thing. Like, I never want to do kind of like a leftovers. You know, like a kind of like every song has to, you know, like be 100%. You know, you have to put your 100% of at that time, whatever you have. Yeah. So
might have been a time back in the day when there was the luxury of filler and B-sides, but you know, those days are over. Everything's got a hit, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just found it like really ironic that there's so many people who would rather just listen to a longer album that has barely any kind of thought put into it. But then, like, for example, like Tyler the Creator, like going to rap albums. He released an album in 2019 and it took 2 years to come out, and I think it was like 11 or 12 tracks, and it was brilliantly crafted because it was a story about, you know, like what's the word I'm looking for, like mystery and heartbreak and stuff like that, like not really understanding the feelings that he's feeling and stuff like that. Like that's a lot of thought. It's a lot of it's a lot of thought behind it. And I think it's so much better than like some other people who will just release 18 track albums with one song talking about their come up. And it's like, we've already heard that before. So what is the point?
Yeah, I mean, there might be a sense of, I know somebody said that they just like long albums because they like a certain, like just a mood kind of thing. And they'll just put it on the background. It's just mood for them.
Yes.
So I because I'm a lyrics person, that's not me, but you know, there's something for everybody out there. So
yeah. Definitely, I was thinking about the same thing. You know, people, you put the album on and you listen to that in the whole song, and everybody's just, you know, it's like a background music. You know, everybody's just talking and, you know, just, you know, doing whatever. And eventually, when you listen to longer, like more times, you know, enough, you know, it, you know, then you might find something, you know, hey, maybe this is not that bad song, you know, but I think definitely every song has to matter, and hopefully, you know, we'll, you know, produce something like that in the future.
Yeah. So basically, as I was researching you guys, I saw that you won 12 LA Critic Music Awards or something like that.
Over the last 4 years, we have, which we're really grateful for. We're really grateful for.
Yeah.
It's those kinds of things are reassuring that we're on the right track. Try to follow like our artistic vision rather than just trying to write things that we know will, you know, quote unquote sell, because it ain't selling. But yeah, we've been really fortunate in that way that, you know, it seems like they appreciate what we do and they keep giving us, you know, awards for it. So we're like, okay, somebody likes it. Somebody really likes us. So
absolutely.
Did you know that line never existed?
I think it's one of those that's a myth. It's, you know, it's risen up through the mythology of, you know, the
Mandela effect. Like they were like, if you look up the original video, she never says they like me, they really like me. She says like something completely different.
Yeah.
And the Mandela effect, it like makes me angry. Like it really does. Like especially the ones that I know are true. Like the Desi Arnaz from I Love Lucy. You know, Lucy, you got some swing to do. Apparently he never said that. Why the hell would we say that if it never did?
Because we're weird. We're weird. It's human nature.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like ironic though, because we all, you know, a good majority of us remember it, and we're just like, and then all of a sudden they're just like, nah, you're wrong. Just never existed. You're wrong.
Yeah. There's a lot of those. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, the Berenstein Bears, that one's the most famous, I think.
It's funny. It's like it's a testament to the human brain and what we kind of wrap our brains around it and hold on to and decide is true. And also then about, oh my God, we're gonna get so philosophical. I'm gonna stop.
No, Nah, it's fine. We got we got a lot of time. It doesn't matter what we talk about. The weirder the topic, the better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Truth is malleable. There's only the truth that you can believe in.
And speaking of truth that you can believe in, I'm gonna pull up one of these headlines that I found. It's just random news stories that I found that was very interesting, and I just wanted to get some a second or third opinion on some of them. So as I was talking about aliens and stuff like that earlier, the Japanese military was actually given instructions about UFOs and stuff like that. Basically, they were saying that they have precautions to like shoot down. I think it's like they have the precautions to shoot down a unidentified object if needed, and they take it very seriously. Like if they don't even suspect it, they'll just immediately just like shoot it down, no question. No, doesn't matter where they're at. They'll just immediately shoot it down. And can you imagine if like something like Roswell would happen nowadays? Because we live in such like a skeptic society. I feel like some guy would just see it fall down from the sky and immediately think, "Oh, it's just a plane, just giant ass saucer that doesn't look like anything else."
And the guy standing next to him would be like, "It's aliens, dude. It's totally aliens," and he would start a whole cult about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Marshall Applegate or Marshall Applewhite probably did.
You know, it's like we're like so extreme. It's either it never happened or it definitely happened, and it's a worldwide global conspiracy. Like, you know,
because we have a platform right now, you know, where we can fight, you know, without me being physical, you know. So that's why we have so many, you know, weird, you know, things happening over here, you know. So yeah.
It's like if one person says something, if they make one statement, immediately somebody's got to be like, "Nope, you're wrong. I'm right," and then they'll give some like bullshit, like they'll give some like
YouTube video about it. It's like, did you?
Well, they'll give some sort of they'll give some like bullshit evidence that makes no sense.
Yep.
like I saw this video. This guy was like, he was making a joke about it, but he was like, "Yo, don't eat a Taco Bell. I used to work there. What, did they cook it with fake meat? No, but they cook it with fake fire." And I'm like, like, how do you? And then you'll just look at somebody, like, you ever have that like moment where somebody says something so outrageous that you just cannot believe what they said, so you just look at them and just wonder, how are you alive?
Yeah, well, you know that person's just fucking with you. They're just trying to see if they can get you all riled up, you know. Like sometimes I think these people throw these things out just to see who will believe it. Like some of these conspiracy theories, they're like, I wonder if I said this, if I could get a bunch of people to believe it. And then they do it. And then they're like, yes, let's sell t-shirts. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they did with Pizzagate.
Yeah. 100%.
But the weird thing is, it's like, it's gotten more evidence to it, and like people are starting to believe it. And I'm just thinking, it was literally made up by 4chan. Like, how did y'all believe it?
Don't even get me started. I'm like, folks, there's no tunnels underneath that pizza place.
Like, imagine somebody just goes in there with a camera.
if you are Hillary Clinton and you have all this power that you claim she has, you really think that if she's going to run a major human trafficking ring, it's going to be under a pizza place?
It wasn't it in like Illinois or something like that? Like some weird ass place that.
I'm like, come on, folks. Especially like I work with children. Like I work at a foundation where we work with like foster kids and stuff. And there are actual nonprofits that are suffering right now because of these conspiracy theories, because they've got wackadoodles on their phone sending in these, and they're like, we can't do the work that we're here to do because we're trying to deal with these people, or these people who are now suddenly like, you know, they're like, well, you're part of the problem, and they're attacking them online. They're like, I'm rescuing children. What are you talking about? We're our own worst enemy. We really are. We're our own worst enemy.
Yeah.
We're just eating ourselves. It's that snake that's, you know, eating its tail. That's us right now. That's us. And that's why we drink.
And that's why we play music, you know.
Yes,
So
play music and we drink.
yeah.
Well, what's the better alternative?
Music, definitely the music.
Depending on who you ask.
Right. Yeah. Well, you can only escape in alcohol so long before it's like, all right, we've got to sort this out because my liver hurts. I can actually feel it.
Yeah. But music on the other hand, you know, just never enough. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Honestly, I was in a meeting today with one of my coworkers, and he said, I think the arts are going to be the only way we get out of this. He's like, I think that's the only thing that's going to fix this. And he's like, you know, a corporate guy, but he said, I don't see that the government or that the private sector is going to fix all of this. I think that we need the arts to step in and do a lot of work for us here, because we've got a heart problem. We've got a soul problem. And that's something only the arts can fix.
Yeah, true.
Is there a way?
You got to fix the world. Come on. We got to write a song that's going to fix the world, man. Let's get to it.
Is there a way
what's the title of the song?
Well, what?
What's the title of the song, you know? So
I'm gonna fix this shit.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
There you go.
Let's play for some fix this shit, yeah. Fixing this shit.
You gotta fix this shit. There you go. It's gonna happen. I love it. All right.
Is that going to be on the next album?
Right. You know, you laugh.
Improvised shit is always good, you know. Like especially, you know, you come up with an idea and just let it go, and you know, just have a good time.
Yeah, it's weird too, because like the way that you were explaining that, I was thinking like this is a time for almost like a musical renaissance where there's a lot of people who are starting to get into arts and stuff like getting into music, getting into movies, getting into just in general, just arts in general. And you know, I mean, there isn't shit to do, so it's like everybody's already, you know, thinking about what they can do to better themselves. Like I know some people who are getting into drawing and being artists, and some people will just take up random ass sports like badminton or something like that, and they'll just and they're just like, I mean, there ain't anything else for me to do. I might as well. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's a weird blessing and curse in that for the longest time, I think all Americans have been saying, oh, if I only had time, I would do blank. It's like, well, you have the time now. What's blank? And a lot of times blank is that thing that actually makes you connect with who you are deep down. Yeah. And so if we can actually foster that and people do connect with who they are deep down, I think they'd be a lot kinder. I think they'd be a lot more empathetic, and maybe the arts would fix everything within ourselves.
Absolutely. And but also, like, I think the fact, you know, like, I think people are trying to escape, you know, like whatever is happening over here to, you know, and go to art, grab your guitar and go and play, and, you know, write us like a story, or you know, go and paint, just to escape this whole madness what's going on. So I think, you know, that's definitely important for me, you know. So
yeah, it does have to be some sort of way that people can get inspired by just music and everything else that you can think of, because, you know, I didn't start doing a lot of interviews until, you know, this happened, and I was like, I didn't expect it to work. You know what I mean? So it's like, like this is sort of caused a lot of, I don't want to refer to it by name because YouTube immediately takes down anything mentioning it. Oh, but wow. Or either they age restrict it or they just completely take it down. Anyway, but yeah, so this has just really been a way of people trying to learn who they are, and kind of, you know, there's always a silver lining to a bad, you know, there's always a silver lining. So, you know, in all reality, like people, you know, depending on who you ask, people are getting sick, people are getting, you know, are dying from this virus and stuff like that. And then there are people who are taking precautions and they're being safe about it, and they're taking all of these like things that they never thought they would do, and then now they're like pursuing it as a passion, or they're pursuing it as a hobby or something like that.
Yeah.
Which going back on the topic of inspirations, who are you guys' main inspirations for making music?
DK.
Arno, you start.
You guys both were both like, give me a second.
I think everything comes from because I think we both, I mean, we have a vast, like, just like a massive spectrum of different like kind of music what we love, and we have like been electronic music from techno to like a 50s music, or like a Robert Johnson from 30s, so it's all as long as you put those things together, definitely like bands like 60s bands, 70s, definitely massive influence. But also like even nowadays, you find some amazing things because you have to refresh all those things and make them new, and and make them fresh, and just combine the artists of all your life and put them in a song. And who does it sound like? Well, doesn't sound like anybody, maybe. So I think it's important to have wide variety of people who you like.
Yeah, Arno's definitely our classic rock guy. He's classic rock like pretty much the whole way. Like, and I'm more hair metal and blues. I love Queensryche. I love Extreme. I love Metallica, and all the metal from that time I really dug. But then I also really love Melissa Etheridge. I really love Beth Hart. Honestly, in the mornings when I'm just kind of walking around doing like chores in the house and I have my headphones on, it's always the Indigo Girls. And maybe that's why I'm the way I am with lyrics, because their songs are always poetry. It's just always poetry. It always inspire. Every time I listen to them, I want to go write a song. I'm like, I got to write a song. Like, oh my gosh, they're, but yeah, we have we're influenced by a lot of stuff. I love the Black Crowes. Love the Black Crowes. I feel like they took blues and stuffed it inside hard rock in such a beautiful way. It's like the Reese's cup of music. It's like, I love these guys.
That's a good way of describing fusions.
Yeah, it's a Reese's cup. But like, I love Nightwish too. And I mean, Arno's probably sick to death of hearing about Nightwish because they're his countrymen.
No, absolutely. Again, good song is a good song. Same thing for me, like a Prodigy and Chemical Brothers. They were massive. Like for me, and Two Unlimited. Even like a 90s. It was very electric time for me. So definitely, like it's been a joyride of, and you have to go back and listen to those and get inspired nowadays. Wow, just a good song, such a great melody.
I think because Arno and I both just really love music. Like we know a lot of music between the two of us, so it'll be like, there was one week where I was like, I'm re-listening to I was listening to some old Peter Gabriel, and it was just like blowing my mind, like to just kind of rediscover Peter Gabriel, or like Depeche Mode. I'll go into like a Depeche Mode, like, and I'm like, oh my God, and so it's, I don't know. I think we're always discovering new stuff. I think maybe that's the reason you can't necessarily pin a genre on what we write, because we have so many influences in the like gumbo that we are making, that it's not just one thing. It's just music. It's just music. That's what it is.
It's a goulash sound.
It's a what?
It's a goulash of sound.
A goulash of sound. Yes, I like that.
That's the next album, right?
Goulash of sound.
Goulash of sound.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna ask you a question in my notes here. I was actually gonna ask what kind of genres that you guys incorporate into your music.
I mean, I guess the two main ones would probably be like hard rock and just like a sliver of metal, because we both do like metal and we come from metal backgrounds.
But also, I think like there's like what I want, there's a couple songs, and what I would like to have more are from like a new wave era, and just like 80s, kind of like early 80s sound. And because there were lots of great bands, at that time, like the Police or Cure, and just like I think what comes to future, you never know how the painting's gonna look, in the future.
Yeah.
It's really just it depends on like what you've really listened to. Is there like any kind of, would you say like elaborating on it a little bit more? You said hard rock. Is there any like type of metal that you would say that really, like, I know you mentioned hair metal earlier. Is that like one of the genres you incorporate into your music, or is it, some other genre?
I think you could say there's symphonic metal influences for sure, because
Yeah.
the band that we were in beforehand was, or you could call it symphonic metal.
Yeah.
So there's that, the Nightwish, Evanescence,
Epica.
kind of, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. It's in Europe, they've got, a plethora of symphonic metal bands that we don't necessarily have here, but
Which sucks.
it's always interesting to me, like, the way that they can make something sound like this huge orchestration, but it's still metal. And like, I remember first discovering symphonic metal and being like, what is this? Where has this been my whole life? Oh my God. But I mean, Arno grew up with it because it's just always been in Finland. So it's really interesting to me to hear how different the music scenes can be from one country to another. You know, in Finland, apparently they've got more metal per capita than any other country in the world.
Yeah, I think, absolutely, but also there is a lot of other kinds of music in Finland. But definitely, like, what comes to metal, yes, we are, I think Finland, we are 30 years behind of everything. And suddenly, like, we hit, oh, wow, like people like metal, so Iron Maiden, and, like bands, like metal bands like Metallica. I mean, they are just massive, and Nightwish, and, female fronted bands, massive influence in our the whole population. But I mean, we're just always behind, and hey, one day we are cool.
But do you think that's really behind, or do you think that's just?
Oh yes, when I look at the Finnish people and when I talk with them, we are absolutely behind. Which is cool. It's not about a bad thing. It's about like loving something and like having your roots in something and feeling the same, and it's that kind of unity in the whole nation, or big part of the nation is feeling that. So this is part of our blood, so it's not because of we are in like you guys are so behind, but it's in a good way. I think that's a great thing, that we still love Motorhead, and Iron Maiden, and symphonic metal, and that's in the radios, that's in a mainstream radio, and so I think we, over there, something is done right, what comes to saving rock and roll and, distorted guitars.
It's sort of like, because over here, there's not a lot of people who really listen to symphonic metal. They just assume that it's some sort of, like all of it's in a different language or stuff like that. But then but there's so many bands out there that, like we said before, Nightwish, Epica, what was her name? Lacuna Coil, like all those types of bands, like they incorporate orchestra into their music. I know Evanescence, they just a couple of years ago they remastered all of their songs, and there was an actual backed orchestra with all of their music. So it's not like we've never heard it before. It's just that I don't think many people have so much of a broad variety of music taste, because maybe they're not that into music, or they're just too afraid to reach out and look for all the genres that are out there, because there are thousands upon thousands of music genres, and there's so much that you can talk about. Like, there's everything from like there's the very scary stuff, scary stuff like doom metal, if you're into that. There's the contemporary pop, there's the K-pop. Like, it just depends on what your tastes are. And in my case, I would have to say that I have to get a little bit more into symphonic metal, because Epica, I'm a big fan of them. Evanescence, they were one of the first ever metal and rock bands I listened to growing up. So it really just depends on who you are, I think, in my opinion.
Yes, I think, like in Europe, I think you are pretty, like you don't have the pressure to listen to whatever, everybody else is listening. Everybody has, like a lot of spectrum, big spectrum of, Euro techno or a Euro, like the stupidness, but also like metal. So it's kind of, freedom over there. Wherever you go, and everybody loves metal. Everybody loves electronic music. Everybody loves pop songs. So it's more like nobody's telling you what you got to do. Like everybody's like a secure what they beliefs are, towards music. Yeah, I love this, and if you don't, that's fine.
Right. It's not your identity, like it is here. Like to some degree, there are people that it's like it's their identity, and they hold on to that very fiercely. And if you don't like what they like, you don't like them. And so I think that's and like you said, I mean, there's a certain like, if you don't like metal or if you just like pop, you're a wuss.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's like, I mean, like my husband likes hip hop and rap, and I like metal, and we make it work somehow. Like, sometimes I come home and I'm like, what is happening in my house right now? I don't even understand what the songs are that are coming out. But at the same time, I've learned a lot of songs that I do like through him. He's like, well, here, try listen to this. Here's some Common. Here's some Roots. Here's some Tribe Called Quest. And I'm like, okay, this is nifty. And he's listening to, some of my stuff too. So it's like, I think we need to be a little more accepting of that. It's not your identity. It's just something. It's like, you wouldn't say, that's it. Peanut butter is my identity because that's what I like to eat. If you don't like peanut butter, you don't like me. It's a taste like anything else. So you can like other things, it's like, just because you like grape jelly instead of, strawberry jelly doesn't,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I know, but nobody's bullying over there in Europe, if you do like something, because like I said, on the radio, they're in what is a richness, definitely in like a metal and rock music they are mainstream music on the radio, like government radio over there. So kind of like nowadays, it has, over here in the United States, it have moves towards, like a more pop music and not so many guitars. But in Finland, guitar is, still the king.
Yeah, like growing up, like when I can speak from experience, when I was in freshman year of high school, this was when I started getting into rock and metal and stuff like that. And at that time, I was just listening to wherever the hell was on the radio and whatever was popular at the time, because when you're that young, you're very impressionable. So you're very like pressured by all the people around you, and you're really like pushed to be like a certain mold that everybody else is at. But then in all reality, I was listening to this music, and this was when I started like coming out about it, like telling people I was listening to, well, at the time, like I thought like Pierce the Veil and Sleeping with Sirens were heavy, but that's kind of like it started getting like heavier and heavier, and I started getting more and more into, I started getting into death metal around like junior year or something like that, and then I started branching out and listening to genres I never thought were possible, pirate metal, fucking Amon Amarth and Viking metal. Like it really just, because there's so much music out there that it's like you can enjoy different genres. I feel like people have this weird thing that you can't like a lot of genres. I feel like that's what they think. They think that they can't listen to certain genres because it makes them weird or something like that. But it's like, if I tell people about my music taste, and then when they turn on like a rap song, I'm like a certain song that I know all the lyrics to, and I start singing along, and they're like, oh, I thought you only listened to this and this. And I'm like, I mean, I listen to a lot. Like I listen from everything from like acoustic ballads to fucking black metal in Norwegia, Norway. I say fucking Norwegia.
You did, but we still like you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but like I said, it's identity. They feel like that's your identity, and like, oh my god,
I mean, same thing with being an artist. I think also like you want to be put in a box. Like where do you guys go and like what box? So you kind of like have to again. I don't care what box they put me in. But as long as I'm enjoying the songs we are making. Yeah. So
the problem for us is they can't find a box we fit in right yet. Like every time they put us in, like there's like a hand sticking out or something. They're like,
yeah.
yeah. But like this week alone, I put out a solo song because it was so not the Spider Accomplice. I knew I couldn't take it to Arno because he'd be like, "What the hell is this?" I put it out as a solo song, and I got comments from different people. 3 different comparisons that I got. Someone told me Pat Benatar, someone else told me Reba McEntire, and someone else told me Tina Turner.
Wow.
And they wonder why I can't pick a genre.
Yeah.
I'm like, those 3 women are about as different as you can get.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I sing what I sing and I write when I write. And if you like it, cool.
Yeah.
That's what we got,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still stuck on the Tina Turner thing.
Yeah, that I've never in my life gotten that before this week, so I didn't even know where to go. I was like, I mean, I love me some Tina. That's an amazing woman, but I don't think I sound anything like her. But to somebody that hit them, so okay,
I think I can see something right now from the verses. I think there could be something like that. And I saw like a something in George Michael-ish, like a little things over there, which
really?
is yeah, and I think yeah.
Oh my God, they took George Michael from us way too soon.
Yeah.
That's my voice. Oh gosh, hear him sing, you're just like that, touched by God. Like listen to that voice, like oh.
Yeah. And how beautiful the man is, generally, so he's fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was delightful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And now we've lost Eddie Van Halen today.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
I mean, I knew he was sick, but like
it hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the hold on. Can somebody start merch that just says 2020 go fuck yourself? Like can we just have that as merch? Like
yeah.
So Arno, was Eddie like an influence when you were playing the guitar when you learned to play?
Yes, absolutely. Like again, I'm a different kind of player because when I noticed early on, Eddie Van Halen is over here and I am over here, so I realized my strengths, to do different. Well, definitely, Eddie Van Halen is, I think, the first guitar player who changed the rock and roll, like kind of like it was Jimi Hendrix. Definitely, Jimi Hendrix reinvented the guitar. Okay, if we go back, maybe Robert Johnson back in the 30s, but Jimi Hendrix did that. The next guy was Eddie Van Halen, in late 70s. And since then, I don't know who has been he created pretty much, shredding and, amazing, of course with Randy Rhoads, but since then, maybe Dimebag, has been revolutionary after that. But somebody who plays totally different, way than, previous people have played, Eddie Van Halen was massive, absolutely, created his own sound, his sound was already 10 years ahead back in 76, 78. So.
I mean, here's how old I am. I remember seeing the video for Pound Cake on MTV. And when he fucking pulls out that drill, I remember I was like, no, he is not. Oh my God. I was like, Mom, come look at this right now. And she did. Because my mom's wicked cool. So she comes running in from the kitchen. She's like, oh my, is that boy playing with a drill? And I said, he is. Oh my gosh. I'm like, he's amazing. I was,
I mean, like a hostile teacher, when he's, on the table and, playing solo. I mean, just, it's really awesome. It was fantastic. It was, this guy, of course, I've got to play with the best, Michael Jackson and all that, so yeah, it's a loss, but again,
Yeah.
This is what life is, So
That's definitely what 2020 is.
yeah.
The amount of people that we've lost in the metal scene this year is just it's ghastly how much that we have lost this year, especially just in general. Like it's like Neil Peart, he passed away earlier this year.
Yes.
Diego Farias, guitarist of Volumes, he passed away. Derek Jones, Fallen in Reverse.
Yeah.
Tony Costanza from Crowbar and Machine Head. They both, that the producer for Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, and Deep Purple, Martin Birch. Jack Sherman of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Like, we're just losing so many people, and it's it's just so.
It's becoming like a more and more like, I remember the horrible year in music was 2016. It was just like a right, like, I mean, Lemmy was 50, like a right at like over there. Then David Bowie, and then just pretty much like everybody. So yeah, but this is becoming I mean, they're getting old. The people what we love. I mean, just the age is it's
people that we thought would never get old. We thought they were ageless and they would never get old and they would always be young and cool. And it's like, time comes for everybody.
Yeah. But not for me, for everybody else.
Of course not. No, Arno lives on. He lives on.
Yeah. Maybe that it just jinxed me right now, but like, let's hope for the best.
Don't even say it. Do not even say it.
I did, Yeah, let's be careful as like with this disease and like with everything in life, and
Yeah, I'm impressed, dude. You're wearing a mask all by yourself in there. Like, good for you.
Well, this is just more of a this is just more of like a art thing, because I would rather have like the artist's face showed instead of mine. You know what I mean?
Oh,
come on!
What a guy! What a guy!
You have beautiful eyes. Show your face.
My first podcast I did a couple of days, or my second podcast I did a couple of days ago. I didn't have the camera that I had now. I just had I didn't have a camera on, so it was just like a still image of my thing. And the guy, and I think it was the bassist. He just goes, "You have such beautiful eyes," and it was just like it was just my picture that I have for my thing, and I'm just thinking to myself like, yeah, I think I need to get a camera. It's like run the Best Buy, just grab a camera real fast, plug it up.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic.
Okay, so moving on to some more about music. Is there like a dream? Speaking of Eddie Van Halen and music and stuff like that, are there any like dream collaborations that you guys like, if somebody were to say, okay, you're gonna be able to collaborate with anyone that you want, who's it gonna be?
It's gonna be different for me and Arno. So Arno, you go first.
No, you go first. Because
you know what I'm gonna say.
No, I don't. Not necessarily.
Because I'm gonna make it happen, because he doesn't live that far away from me. But
now I know. Yeah. Now I know. Yeah, exactly.
Before I die, I need to write a song with Nuno Betancourt. I have to. I think he is brilliant. I think he's underrated. I think that people don't realize how freaking talented that guy is. And I think it's because I've been listening to him since I was a teenager. I mean, my school. He's the one who actually got me into metal. And it's funny, he just eased me in. Like, I'd get in the car and he'd have on ZZ Top. Then I got in the car and he'd have on Queensryche. Then I got in the car and he'd have an Extreme. By the time I broke up with him, it was Cannibal Corpse coming out of the car. And dude, but to his credit, then I got a lot of metal in those 6 years of just, that he kind of kept throwing at me and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the one that really hit me was always Extreme. Like, every time they came out with a new record, I was blown away by what Nuno could do. And I didn't understand why he wasn't getting more respect. And I think it's because he's pretty, and people do that. They're like, oh, he's just a pretty boy, so they don't listen to what he's doing. And it's like, no, listen to what he's doing. I mean, On Three Sides to Every Story, his song Rise and Shine is just, I'm like, what? How did he, what? Yes. You're not far from me. You do not live far from me. I'm telling you. And we need to write a song together. I'm telling you. So if you're watching, we need to make this happen.
I mean, most likely he probably isn't, but
I bet he isn't. I'm gonna try to get there.
Everybody watching this video, tweet it out.
Yeah.
Everybody tweet it out to him.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. But I think, Extreme was one of those bands also, like it was in between like a hair metal and grunge, but it didn't survive, like a massive takeover of Nirvana and all that. I think they just like with that they just disappeared. I think they were more late 80s band in order than just a 90s band. So I think that's the reason like they
and it's crazy because Gary Sharon, that's an amazing singer. He went on, actually, speaking of Eddie, he was the third singer for Van Halen and did one record with them. And nobody liked it because that's one of those, it's almost like Nightwish. There's the Tarja people and there's the, whereas like with Van Halen, there's the people who are all Diamond Dave or they're all Sammy. And there was just no room for Gary. And I saw them live with Gary in Virginia Beach, and he was amazing. He was all over the place. He was jumping off the speakers, and he could sing all of the songs from every era. But it didn't matter. The Van Halen fans were not going to give him a chance. But that guy's got an amazing voice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're getting close to the. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that we're getting close to the end of the podcast. So what we're gonna finish this on is, are there any tour stories that really stick out to you guys? Like any stories that people that you would tell them and they wouldn't believe you or anything like that?
If they know us, they'd believe them. Go ahead, Arlo. Go ahead.
Well, this is the thing. I never, remember the stories. But when somebody's coming to tell me it, oh my God, what did you do over there? Like what happened over there? Like I don't remember jack shit. So it could have been too much like influence in music, or rock and roll lifestyle, but or alcohol. But all the other people are telling me all the stories, and I'm like, what? Kind of like, now I maybe remember this, so I don't know.
Okay, so, all right. So the first tour that we were on, we went, and first of all, we went to the Midwest in the end of October. So it was freezing cold. And we went with White Empress, which if you haven't heard White Empress, they're not a band anymore, but that's some metal. And my best friend was the lead singer. And so we went with them, and we were supposed to be in Green Bay for the first date. That we had a plan, we were going, and we had this van, and everyone has a story about a white van that broke down, but I feel like we win because first of all, this van was bought off Craigslist for $2,000. I guarantee someone died in this van. It was so disgusting. We scrubbed it to death, but there was still DNA in there. I know there was. And we got to St. Louis, and Arno, up to this point, because Arno, we had only met a few months before all of a sudden we were out on tour. And he wasn't a big talker at that point. There were 5 guys in the band. And so he didn't say much. And when he did, it was usually just, that's his, So he's driving, and I hear Arno say, shit. And I'm like, and I turn to the drummer, and he's like, Arno said shit. And we're like, oh no, what does shit mean? And then we hear the van going, and we knew it was all over. Cause we're like, if Arno said shit, that means we're all going to die. That's what's happened right now. So apparently the transmission went out, and we rolled to a stop underneath the St. Louis arch. Underneath the arch. So we get out, we're trying to figure out what to do. And this bicycle cop rolls up to us, and he says, hey, do you guys need some help? And to his credit, he was really nice, considering there's 5 like weird looking metalheads standing there, like with a, you know,
from Los Angeles
crime van, a literal crime van. And so he called a tow truck for us. Meanwhile, I'm on Facebook going, do we know anyone in St. Louis, Missouri? Because we're underneath the arch right now. It's the middle of the night, blah, blah, blah. So we finally get to the world's diciest Red Roof Inn. And literally there's a guy behind the glass that's about this thick, and he's dancing. He sees me, but he's still dancing. He's like, what's up, girl? You need a room? I'm like, so I start dancing with him because I'm like, why not? I'm like, yeah, I need a room. Like, I got about 5 motherfuckers with me. And he's like, all right. So we get the room. And I'm like, this is the weirdest night ever. We get into the room. The lead guitar player sits down on the bed and starts to cry instantly. And I said to him, are you kidding me? I'm the girl. And you're going to cry right now? And he's like, it just wasn't supposed to be like this. This is my first big tour. And I'm like, oh, drink this beer. So I gave him a beer and I said, drink this beer and you're going to feel better. And just then my phone went ding. And it was one of our biggest fans. And she said, hey, I'm so excited. I think my husband met you guys. And I said, I bet he didn't. I'm like, we're in St. Louis. She goes, no. He's a police officer. And he was on his bike doing his rounds. And he said, hey, I think I just met that band that you like.
Yeah. Oh my God. How small world is that? You know?
I said, well, girl, you win.
Yeah.
So we did make it to Green Bay. We rolled in.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. It was snowing. And we didn't have time to do anything. We literally just threw all our shit on stage, got up and played. And from that moment on, it was just fucking magic. It was the best tour ever.
And you know what? You know, like, it was actually a couple days earlier what really scared the shit out of me over there. Again, I'm behind the wheel, and because I have that, you know, touch of Midas with you know, the $2,000 car, the van. You know, I put the you know, like the you know, the steer, you know, like I mean, like the, you know, cruise control on. It was stuck on. It got stuck on, and I was going like faster and faster. I was going to 75 and all that, you know. So I didn't know what the hell to do. Nothing helped in that point, you know. It got stuck on, and it was accelerating, and I'm pressing brakes, and you know, and I think, you know, Justin was over there. Hey, VK, you know, like, let's go, you know, have a drink over here, you know, just to keep you like. And I'm going, I don't know how the fuck to stop this whole fucking van right now. I'm sorry about that language, but anyways, you know, like.
Yeah. We had warnings about the van, but we kept thinking it would be okay, because he didn't get it to stop. But that was, I remember that Andy was like, why are we going faster? Why are we going faster? Oh no, slow down. And we're like, oh, he can't slow down. And I was like, is this how we die? It's like, speeding down like in the middle of Oklahoma, speeding down the freeway, like,
And, you know, it was just, you know, it got just, you know, acceleration mode, and, you know, it just got faster and faster, and I'm pressing brakes as much as I can. So we like, you know, I had to put it, you know, I got it on neutral, you know, like, and I, maybe that's because of the, you know, transmission went, you know, so, you know, so we waited for, you know, so it was horrible. It was moments, you know, absolutely. So it had to be told.
Got back to Los Angeles was we ended up selling that van for scrap metal.
It was during the road. It was since where we sold that.
Yeah, we sold it for scrap metal, and got $600, and then we rented 2 other vehicles, a van and a car, and took 2 vehicles on the whole rest of the tour that we had to rent, because there was nothing to be done. It was like the repairman said, there's nothing I can do. The patient is dead. So we said, So the moral of this story is, do not buy a $2,000 van.
Yeah. When you go on the road, you know, just, you know, try to have, even like my previous band, you know, we went on Warped Tour. It was a white van, and it broke down in Fort Collins, where I happen to know some people in Colorado, in Fort Collins. I actually went over there 1 year earlier, you know, for my friend's graduation for veterinarian. So she came with a big ass truck and, like took us to the gig, so we made it, to play over there. So, and the van was, running next day. So we didn't miss a beat, but what a coincidence, just your middle of the, a 20,000 miles, tour, your van, decides to, take a crap, at the place where you have friends with massive trucks and all that, so that's
yeah,
that's
you got lucky. You got lucky. We did not.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Well, on that note and the moral of the story, this is gonna be the end of the podcast. If you guys want to promote anything, you got 30 seconds to do so now.
Please go to our Spotify. Our Spotify is the Spider Accomplice, and stream everything. The more numbers we get, the more chance we will come to your town, and we want to. So stream.
Anything else?
Very good.
Wear your mask. Stay safe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. So thanks for the Spider Accomplice for coming out today, and thank you guys for listening in to the podcast. All of their links are going to be down below in the description, and we hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you all later.